Hello, everyone, and welcome to a 10-part series on how to be a great leader in this new and often challenging world of work that we operate in.
Workforce Excellence, involvedgroup.com.
In this session, I'll be focusing on the fourth of the 10 traits that employees highlighted for being a great leader, which is about how leaders need to own their mistakes. And I'll be answering two questions. First of all, why is it important for leaders to own their mistakes? And then how can you do this? So let me begin by saying that when I started out in the workplace over 20 years ago, leaders were expected to be seen as perfect, knowing everything, never needing to ask others for help, and absolutely never making mistakes. It was like we had to be a superhero and wear a superhero cape all the time. And we could never be anything other than this superhero character. But luckily, times are changing, and more companies are realizing that this is not only impossible for leaders, but it's actually not good for them, it's not good for their employees, and it's not good for the business. They're starting to see that superpowers do not come from leaders being perfect, but from leaders being human and owning their mistakes. There's a great quote that talks about this concept of getting power from mistakes, which says that mistakes have the power to turn you into something better than you were before. So if we want a company full of people who are at their best, and who wouldn't want this, then as leaders, we need to take off our superhero capes from time to time and show our employees that it's okay to make mistakes so that they in turn can be turned into superheroes themselves by getting better by making their own mistakes. This leads me to answering the question why, which I've already started to touch on, but let's look at 4 other reasons why it's important as a leader to own your mistakes. The first has to do with respect, which is such an important part of any strong relationship, especially between a leader and their employees. Without it, employees do not give their all to their leader and to the company, as they don't feel engaged with and committed to them, thinking, why bother, as I actually don't respect them. If leaders were more honest with their employees about their shortfalls and their mistakes, learning from and moving on from them, they'd have a much better chance of earning and maintaining the respect of their employees. Keep in mind that employees respect that their leader has put their fears of not appearing perfect in front of them, showing them that they deserve the respect. Moving on to trust, which is also something so basic and yet so essential between the company and the workforce, and between you as a leader and your employees. And like respect, trust is not something that just happens. It needs to be earned. And one of the key ways that it can be earned is through owning your mistakes. In Simon Sinek's book, Leaders Eat Last, he talks about something that's called a circle of safety, which is a place where employees feel psychologically safe to be vulnerable around their colleagues, safe to admit mistakes, point out gaps in their training, share their fears and anxieties, ask for help, and ultimately and critically innovate. He talks about how it is the leader's responsibility to create this circle of safety, which starts with them role modeling that it's okay to make mistakes. In this same book, Sinek says, while inspiration gets people to take the first step and follow in the calm, trust gets people to climb the hill and brave the storm. And it's this trust that we need as our employees face storm after storm in their jobs. The next reason is something that's called learning moments. A few years ago, I heard someone use the term learning moments when he spoke about mistakes, saying that he never uses the word mistakes anymore because he believes it sends the wrong message, implying that mistakes are always bad. This is one of those light bulb moments for me, as it showed me that we all need to start looking at mistakes in this way and see them as opportunities to learn instead of moments of sadness, disappointment, or even punishment. For with mistakes come key learnings. And with each learning comes more experience. With experience comes the greater ability to identify opportunities. And with opportunities comes improvements and innovation. And these are all things that companies need. Which leads me to my final reason, which is that it's important that leaders own their mistakes because it sets an example for others. When leaders lead by example, it shows their employees that it's okay to always not have the right answers and to make mistakes, to have these learning moments and give them permission and not fear to do the same thing. Think of it this way. If you were teaching your employees a new technical skill, you wouldn't just say, do it. You'd show them first, helping them see what it looks like to master the technical skill themselves. And the same is true with this concept and this skill of making mistakes or having learning moments, as it's just as important to show them how to safely and effectively master it, and then give them the freedom to get on and do it. So let's move to the next question, which is, how do you own your mistakes as a leader? The answer is quite simple, which is, as the Nike slogan says, just do it. Start seeing mistakes as a strength and not a weakness. And start having the courage to own any that you make in front of your employees. And when I say own it, I mean really own it. Talk about them, dissect them, turn them into learning moments for your entire team by discussing what you've all learned through them. If you do this when it happens to you, it will create a safe environment where others will openly admit and discuss their mistakes, an environment of respect, trust, and engagement, and a team where you create and do the best that you can together. So thank you for your time, and I hope you join my other sessions on how to be a great leader.